As Biwater begins the process of extracting water from the sea through the mangroves at Paraquita Bay, 4 years after the agreement was signed, Biwater continues to spark debate in the House of Assembly. Contributing to the debate on the Public Accounts Committee report on the cruise pier project, the issue of Biwater brought members of the House of Assembly to their feet during the presentation by opposition member and District 3 Representative Julian Fraser. In response to statements made by members of the government during the PAC debate about the Biwater agreement, Fraser said government knows that if the obligations in the Biwater contract are not met, there will be serious consequences. Fraser went on to state information regarding government's obligation to pay electricity costs for Biwater when he was interrupted.
Realizing the blasé attitude the government is having towards this contract and meeting their obligations, I am cognizant, Madam Speaker, that there will be consequences, and the consequences are going to be severe. I am going to sit, and the territory is going to wait. And we're going to see how the minister got from here a year ago telling us that he's well on his way to supplying all these services, and when the time comes, they're not there to hear what his excuse is going to be. I'm starting to hear them. I'm starting to hear about costs escalating and what the price tag is going to be. We'll wait.
Honestly, it's important for me to correct these. I heard about blasted attitude of the government. I heard about dire impact of consequences, Madam Speaker. I clearly stated in my point of information a while ago that the government is providing and has provided all of the necessary requirements that Biwater contract has made. After, Madam Speaker, after grave difficulty of Biwater finding the money to do the project, after great difficulty, we tried to help them, to accommodate them, to find the money. They didn't have the money. They went and borrowed it, and we had to do everything possible to help Barclays Bank to be able to fund the project for them. All kinds of things. And furthermore, Madam Speaker, the member quite well know that this project called for water coming from wells. And we went through a long process to help them to resolve the problem that they had, because the city were getting water from wells in Paraquita Bay, and there was no water there.
Madam Speaker?
So we had to eventually go, Madam Speaker, to get water, allow them to go across the pond to get water from across the pond. And Madam Speaker, that is one of the reasons this project has been delayed. And furthermore, Madam Speaker, the last statement that was made about the cost had nothing to do, Madam Speaker, with any delays. The cost has to do with the contract, where the price of water is in the contract. I just want to make that clear for the public and for the Honorable House, Madam Speaker. So let's get our facts clear.
Madam Speaker, the Minister for Communications and Works spoke ad nauseum during his presentation. I can't get a chance to say two statements, to say two paragraphs. Is this going to continue, Madam Speaker? It can't.
The Biwater contract was signed on February 18, 2010 by then Premier Ralph O'Neill and former Communications and Works Minister Julian Fraser with Biwater SA. On July 29, 2014, Minister Vanterpool, during his debate of the Public Accounts Committee report, expressed his disappointment with the contract signed by the Virgin Islands Party administration. Minister Vanterpool says the $42 million guarantee by government with Biwater SA will be a heavy burden on taxpayers of this country.
This country is settled with an agreement under the Biwater arrangement where I don't know when we'll get out of it. It's going to be a long, as the old people say, a long, oldie time. That thing called Biwater agreement, Madam Speaker, you ever read it? I did all I could ask my members to help me get up it, because it's like a, what you call it, when you put on his shoulder and going up the hill. I had a donkey, man. Let me leave a donkey alone. He named a brother man. When he reached up mountain, going up the hill, he was so lazy, he wouldn't go up. When the weight gets too heavy. Man, Speaker, we ain't get up the hill. Brother man, he ain't get up the hill. This Jebel Smith donkey he was. He wouldn't go up the hill. No matter what you do him, if the weight was too heavy, he wasn't going up Mountain God. This government going to be under that burden, under Biwater. I feel my Premier, the Minister of Finance in this government here. He ain't got a hill with Biwater. You wait till October when you get paid that first bill. God see for us. And we up down touting that this is the best thing since sliced bread. I listen to that on my Marias, coming from the minister responsible for presenting Biwater. The best thing since sliced bread. Madam Speaker, you know that I heard that we signed an agreement with a company wanting a lot of money. And do you know that it's up to some, it's only some that go. We had to sign off to let Barclays Bank lend Biwater some money because we guarantee the loan. Taking up Biwater guarantee the loan is our government who really borrow the money in effect.
Biwater first announced that they would begin water distribution in January 2011. Several new water delivery dates were announced since then. After drilling efforts failed to access water in Paraquita Bay and Brandywine Bay, the company recently penetrated the mangroves by the HLSCC Marine Center in Paraquita Bay to access water from the ocean. During the debate on August 11th, the issue of cost for the 2.3 million gallons of water daily became another point for interruptions as Fraser sought to bring comparison between ocean conversion and the Biwater agreements.
Less than a month after signing this Biwater contract for $12.90 per 1,000 gallons, and sign one with ocean conversion for $17 per 1,000 gallons. And speaking of minimum quantities, the ocean conversion contract does have a clause in it for compensation. It says minimum quantity means nil prior to the completion of phase 1 of the schedule of works set out in clause 2.2 and 500,000 imperial gallons per day thereafter. It means, Madam Speaker, whether government uses the 500,000 gallons a day, which is the capacity of their plant, the government has to pay for it. Whether they use it or not, the same minimum capacity that Biwater has, their capacity is 2.3 million gallons a day, and that's what it is.
So, Madam Speaker, can I keep giving a point of information arise, Madam Speaker? Because the public must not be misled with half information. The Biwater contract that goes for 12 years at the rate of $12.90 has an inflationary figure in there that each year that price rises over the 12 years. So it's possible that over the 12 years that price may come to $20 per 1,000 gallons. In fact, Madam Speaker, Biwater has written us already to tell us that the price of water when delivered 2 years later than they had planned to deliver will be more than $12.90. In fact, the last figure quoted us was close to $15. So read the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And furthermore, Madam Speaker, let's get the facts straight and complete. The ocean conversion contract, the member did not say it for 7 years only. It's only for 7 years. Therefore, the price would be higher because of the capital recovery shortness of that 7 years. Those are the facts. Inform the public correctly. And furthermore, Madam Speaker, the $17 that ocean conversion pays includes approximately $6 of electricity bill. Deduct that from that, it comes to $11 per 1,000 gallons. The Biwater contract of $12.90 does not include that $6. The government have to provide that $6. So really, the contract is $12.90 plus $6, which is close to $20.
Madam Speaker, this cannot continue.
Get the facts correct.
It cannot continue.
Honourable Member for the thank you, Honourable Minister for Communications and all. Honourable Member for the 3rd District. You may continue with your
Madam Speaker, this cannot continue. It's not viable. The minister cannot be jumping up out of the seat every time I speak. In continuation of my presentation here, I want to point out also that this $12.90 and $6.85 goes far and beyond 1,000 gallons of water. It has to do with a whole lot more than 1,000 gallons of water.
According to Fraser, the Biwater agreement covers other works. These include the rehabilitation of the sewage pumping station in Rotown, replacement of connecting sewage pipes, and construction of new sewage treatment plants at Bird Point and Paraquita Bay. However, some 4 years after the Biwater agreement was signed, government moved ahead with the sewage works without Biwater. Works include upgrading of the Rotong sewage pumping station and replacement of sewage pipes. In addition, Biwater was expected to refurbish the existing reservoir at Sabbath Hill and install a new water reservoir. Fraser said this work has been completed, and this photo was taken in May this year. Minister Vantipool says Biwater may begin water distribution in October this year.